Good evening, welcome to Monday's Look North. Our top story tonight. The Yorkshire woman who spent 18 months in hospital with life-changing injuries after being hit by a tractor.
I remember feeling as though I'd been run over, like 5 or 6 times, but in reality, I'd got stuck with the back wheel of the tractor.
We hear from a charity that helped Lucy recover. Also tonight, thieves target the Leeds Motor Neurone Disease Research Centre that's been built in Rob Burrows' memory.
Come on now, follow my lead. Come on now, follow my lead.
And how about this? Music fans in Sheffield enjoy an impromptu performance by pop superstar Ed Sheeran. And the students from Doncaster College who've designed a huge display at the Chelsea Flower Show.
And it looks good for yet another dry week across much of Yorkshire. Just the odd shower, but changes are afoot for next weekend. Join me for the very latest.
Hello there, I hope you had a lovely weekend. Thank you for joining us. We start tonight with Lucy's story. Lucy was 19 when she was hit by a tractor and dragged under its trailer on a country lane. Her injuries were so severe that she called her father and told him she didn't expect to survive. After years of medical and emotional care, she's now sharing her story to try and give hope to anyone who finds themselves in a similar position. Phil Bodmer has been to meet her.
I'd got stuck with the back wheel of the tractor and was kind of going round with it until it had kind of spat me out further down the road.
Lucy Maguire never thought she would live to tell her story, but thanks to the skill of surgeons at Leeds General Infirmary, she somehow survived.
I was run over by a tractor and trailer in 2021, which resulted in me having to have a hemipelvectomy, so the amputation of my pelvis and right leg.
Rushed to the major trauma unit at the LGI, Lucy was in hospital for 518 days. Her injuries were so serious, doctors compared them to those of a bomb blast victim.
Good, nice and tall.
Against the odds, Lucy began to recover, and that in part, she says, is down to the support of a charity called Day One Trauma.
Without them, I just remember not knowing how I was going to live outside the hospital. I remember thinking, I've not done this before. I was 19, I didn't know how to pay my bills, I didn't know how I was going to live without work.
The charity was founded in Leeds in 2014 by an orthopaedic surgeon who recognised significant gaps in the care and guidance for those going through life-changing trauma.
Day One Trauma Support makes a huge difference, and we are all delighted as clinicians that Day One is around to support the treatment of our patients with these catastrophic injuries. There are so many issues to address, and Day One is the icing on the cake, as I call it, for what we do here.
Yeah, for this person, we might be able to, look at a bed downstairs living.
For many, navigating life after major trauma can be complex and daunting. Alongside the physical injuries, emotional scars can remain hidden.
Patients don't know what they're going to do, when they come out of hospital, if they're going to have a lengthy recovery, are they going to be able to go back to work? Will they need, financial assistance and support? So just that early access to practical support, whether through the emergency grants or the benefit system, or that legal advice is so crucial and so important to be able to navigate that journey of recovery and rehabilitation.
You can fix broken bones, you can transplant organs, you can do all these things, but if the brain gives up, I think the body gives up. And I think if I was alone in that situation, I wouldn't be here right now.
Lucy says her goal is to inspire others, giving people who find themselves in a similar position a glimpse of what life can be like after a catastrophic event. Phil Bodmer, BBC Look North.
So brave of Lucy to speak to us, wasn't it? Earlier I spoke with Dr. Louise Johnson. She's a principal clinical psychologist at Leeds Major Trauma Centre and a trustee of Day One Trauma Support. I asked her how proud she was of Lucy coming forward.
We're incredibly proud of Lucy. She's such a courageous and brave young lady, and it's lovely to hear her talk and share her journey that she's been on.
Lucy says that the surgeons saved her life at the hospital, but actually the support that was given by the charity, both emotionally and practically, was just as important for her. Why is the NHS not able to offer that support?
I think the NHS service is remarkable in terms of what they're able to do for people in the initial aftermath following traumatic injury. But I think that the journey of trauma is often long, and it's at that stage when people get home and they start their rehabilitation that they're requiring psychological, emotional support. They're possibly requiring some financial and practical advice and emotional support. And that's really where Day One Trauma Support Charity steps in, and they can offer that support to people for as long as it takes. They're there from day one, just all the way through somebody's rehabilitation journey.
Presumably, when you've been through something like this, it's hard to know where to start with what you actually do need.
Absolutely, it's overwhelming. I think that often people feel overwhelmed when they get back into what was their normal lives, and suddenly they find that their lives have been turned upside down, and that they need some guidance and some support and some practical emotional support during that time.
Lucy was just 19 when this happened. The impact on family is huge as well, isn't it?
It's massive, and I think that family is often the biggest source of support for people following trauma, so it's really important that they have a space to be able to talk about their feelings and their emotions following a traumatic event that's affected their loved ones. And that's where Day One Trauma Support offer counselling services for families of those that have been affected by major trauma, and I think that's essential to help build their resilience so that they can support their family member.
Dr. Johnson, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.
OK, let's move on now. He'd be looking down, cursing them. That's what Rob Burrows' dad, Jeff, has said today, after thieves targeted a motor neurone disease research centre that's been built in his son's name. Leeds Rhinos legend Rob died last year, having been diagnosed with MND in 2019. The new facility is being built with the backing of Rob's family, but extra security has now been put in place after 2 incidents involving theft and damage. Michelle Lyons is at the site of the new centre for us tonight. Michelle, bring us up to date with what's happened today.
Yes, Amy. Well, as you can see behind me, the construction of the MND treatment centre is well underway in memory of Leeds Rugby League legend Rob Burrows. And the site is fenced off from the public while that work is ongoing. But today, police have confirmed in the past week that there have been 2 burglaries here. The first took place on Wednesday when a quantity of copper was stolen. And then on Friday evening, West Yorkshire Police said a second burglary took place. When they arrived at the construction, they conducted a thorough search of the site, and they found some tools, and they also found a rucksack.
And Michelle, what's been the reaction to these break-ins?
Well, as you can imagine, there's been shock and upset from the whole of the MND community today, and it's a project so close to so many people's hearts, especially after all the fundraising that's taken place, after all the years as well, and including the numerous marathons that have been run by Rob Burrows' friend and teammate Kevin Sinfield. And the £6.8 million target to complete the centre was reached only in December last year. Today, Rob's dad, he spoke out about his disappointment about what's happened. He said, "We heard there's been a break-in. At first we thought it was a prank. It shows how low and desperate people are to make money. Rob wanted to help people. He was such a lovely person. He'd been looking down, cursing them. For someone to do that beggars belief." And Esther Wakeman, who's the CEO of the Leeds Hospitals charity, she says it's shocking to think that anyone would do such a thing to a community project.
It's so disheartening to hear this news when we know how hard our supporters have worked, and the family of Rob Burrows have, committed their time and energy to raising the money to build this centre. It's been a, real community effort. So to think that somebody would come in and try and steal is just unbelievable.
Well, extra security measures have been put in place, and Leeds teaching hospitals say that thieves will be prosecuted. The police are appealing for anyone with information to come forward. But despite these recent thefts, it looks like the new Rob Burrows Centre for Motor Neuro Disease will remain on track and will be open by the autumn.
And it is looking fabulous there in the background. It's really coming together, isn't it? Thank you, Michelle. Let's have a look at some other stories coming into the newsroom now. A monk has been found guilty of sexually abusing 2 pupils at a Catholic boarding school in North Yorkshire. A jury heard Michael James Callahan, known as Father James, targeted teenage boys who were isolated from their families at Ambleford College. Callahan, who's now 71 and from Leeds, was found guilty of 12 counts of indecently assaulting the first boy, including 4 when he was under 16, and 1 count of sexual assault on the second boy. He was granted bail until his sentencing in June. A new platform's been opened at Bradford Forster railway station today, meaning extra trains can run directly from Bradford to London. And what an opening! The Bantam of the Opera Choir were on hand for the official ceremony this morning. The new platform has cost £24 million. It means there's extra space at the station for LNER services to the capital. There'll now be 7 return trips a day instead of 2.
Exactly this reason I wanted UK City of Culture, because it opens up conversations to tell people really how great Bradford is, how many people are out. Big bulk place, youngest city in the country. We need to be connected to the rest of the country and indeed to the north. So this is a really great down payment increase in our transport connectivity.
You are watching Monday's Look North, still to come on tonight's programme. I'll be talking to Paul Hudson about how river levels are causing such concern. But before that, let's go to the sport with Ollie. And not good news for Chesterfield, sadly.
No, sadly not, Amy, no. Touching distance of a potential playoff final. Their return to the Football League ends in a playoff defeat after an incredible season for them. They went into Friday night's League Two semi-final game needing to overturn a 2-0 scoreline for a chance to go to Wembley.
Also felt the best team's gone to Wembley, and as I say, the result doesn't lie, but we're disappointed with certain aspects over both games. Loads to learn from, big step up from last year, loads to learn from. Teams in this league are ruthless, as we found out many a time, but we can't forget we've got in these playoffs, and that has been an achievement. Next season we definitely want to go one better.
Yeah, well, it ends in defeat, but what a season it's been. Many fans wouldn't have expected Chesterfield to do so well, ending with a playoff push, with supporters saying they're pleased with their team's efforts.
I'm really proud because honestly, when I came in, I didn't expect anything. I didn't expect us to get this far. So to get this far means the world. And we can smash it again next season. We've got Dobra on the wing. We can do it.
Wasn't to be. We're happy to be where we are, though, from where we were a few years ago. So
couldn't ask for anything better. And I'm so happy to be a Spy-Right. That's the main thing.
Finally, in basketball, and the Sheffield Hatters held off a late fight back to win the Women's Super League playoff final in London. The Hatters had a healthy lead over Oakland Wolves going into the final minutes, but were able to defend a late comeback to win 83-73. It's the club's first league playoff win in 10 years. Fantastic. Well done to them. Amy, that's all your sports.
Thank you. Nice tie, by the way.
Thank you.
This is our little Stardust part of the programme because the owner of a West Yorkshire restaurant said he thought he was being pranked when someone called to book a table for actor Stephen Graham and the American rock star Bruce Springsteen. Can you imagine? The pair turned up to Norman's in Kirkburton near Huddersfield on Friday after filming nearby. They had pictures with the staff after their lunch, something the owner said was like some sort of fever dream.
Obviously, during the meal, we left them to it, but very kindly, as they were getting up to leave, I asked if we could be really cheeky and have a team photo together. And while we were rounding everyone up, they were in the kitchen talking to the chefs, talking to the front of the house. It was a bit of a surreal moment for everyone, but I really appreciate them taking the time out. It's it made everyone's year.
Well, talking of surprise celebrity appearances, it seems Yorkshire is the place to be because in Sheffield last night they were treated to a visit from this music superstar. He is the real deal. Ed Sheeran's record-breaking tours see him perform in front of 80,000 people a night. But last night he went back to basics, busking outside Sheffield Town Hall in support of Tracks. It's a group that helps young people break into the music industry. In a moment we'll hear from a couple of people who performed on stage with Ed, but first, here's a flavour of that surprise gig. Music fans gathered outside City Hall for an impromptu gig by TikTok sensation DJ AG in Sheffield to support a gig for local artists. Then this happened. Multi-award-winning musician Ed Sheeran came to town.
I wanna be nowhere but here.
He delighted the crowd with some of his best-known hits and shared the stage with young talents he'd come to shine a light on.
DJ AG's coming from this way, and Ed Sheeran's coming from this way, and just stood and watched us like practice our songs. It was insane. Words can't explain how good it was.
So you get nervous at the start when you're like with big people like this, but like, you know, it actually feels quite good to be like doing this, and you know, I felt really good after I've done it.
Tracks, a group that helps young people break into the music industry, was awarded money from the Ed Sheeran Foundation early this year to support a youth club and alternative provisions for youngsters in the area.
It started with Ed visiting tracks and coming down and seeing what we do and working with some of the young people. They had a big jam, it was great, and I think he just felt the ethos of what we do, and he saw that it was something that he wanted to support.
The high-profile jamming session was streamed live on social media, a boost for those trying to enter the industry.
Giving artists an opportunity to perform is extremely important. It's an amazing thing, and long may it continue. We need more open spaces, more public spaces where we can come outside and allow our talent to shine.
I'm in love with the shape of you. We push and pull like a magnet too. Although my heart...
Oh, wish I was there. Two people who definitely were, performing alongside Ed Sheeran were musical artists, rappers and producers Curtis Campbell and Lucas Ashman, otherwise known as Reno. You were smiling all the way through, reliving that.
Yeah.
What was it like?
To be honest, before it, we had like so many nerves. Nerves in the room were high, but like a family, we came together and we just did what we do as artists. And yeah, it's amazing.
Well, we can see what you do there, in the middle of the crowd, jamming with Ed Sheeran, also with DJ AG as well. Lucas, what did they say to you after or before the performances?
Lucy wanted us to all just hype each other up, and they were saying the same. DJ AG's team, just make sure everyone gives it their all, just enjoy it, just have a good time.
It's not the first time you've actually performed with Ed Sheeran, is it? Because he's a massive supporter of tracks and what you're trying to do. Tell us a little bit about your involvement with that, because you both came through as mentors, didn't you?
Yeah, so before, like, we used to be, like, taught by him. Lucas could probably tell you a bit more about that.
Yeah, I started with a couple, I think 3 years ago, I started with mentoring sessions from them, because I used to go to Flourish Open production sessions, but then they got me from there to mentoring sessions, and from there they got Curtis in, and then they just told us about the other stuff they were doing and wanted to see if we wanted to volunteer.
Tell me about some of the work that you do with young people, though, because it's so important, isn't it, to have this sort of community coming together and inspired by music?
Yeah. So one of the things we do is on a Tuesday we have an after-school club where, like, anyone from the age of 11 to 18 can come enjoy music, and we have we've had two of them, 2 open mic sessions, and we've got a third one coming up as well. And like, you can perform and just get a taste for it. If you're not like used to performing, you might be shy, but those type of nerves, you can get them out of the way. And it's like an inviting community, so everyone will cheer you on, no matter how much experience you have as an artist. And
Tracks has got a single out. Tell us a little bit about that.
Spotlight, the kids, I think it was most of the kids who were involved in making that, writing it.
Yeah.
Lucy got some cello loops together and worked with, was it 10?
Yeah, a producer called 10. And then I've got a verse on it. Lucas did a few backing vocals, but to be honest, most of it was the kids, and they just absolutely smashed it.
They showed out.
And what has been the response after last night's gig? Because this was streamed on social media, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Support from everywhere. Support from everywhere. Everyone's backing each other up. Everyone loved it.
Well, congratulations. It looked amazing, and we can't wait to see what more you and Ever got in store. Thank you.
Thank you.
OK, let's move on to a different sort of talent now. Floristry students from Doncaster have unveiled a huge design at the Chelsea Flower Show in London. Doncaster College won a competition to stage a display in the Great Pavilion at the prestigious event, which is attended by 150,000 people. Olivia Richwald has been to take a look.
Flowers and plants, from the homegrown and familiar to houseplants and tropical blooms. Doncaster College's design was to lay out a rainbow of nature to provide inspiration in a world of concrete and construction.
This has lived kind of rent-free in my head since Christmas, so it's been a long road to get to this point. Lots of logistics to plan, lots of flowers to plan. This weekend has been absolutely out of this world. We arrived on site on Friday, so a lot of the mechanics, a lot of the staging went in Friday. As you can see, it's quite tall, so a lot of that was quite challenging. Students arrived Saturday morning and sort of hit the ground running with the flower, and they've just done a superb job. Really impressed.
The exhibit design was submitted months ago. The complex structures built from wood and steel. The mirror tiles wrapped around the pillars were designed to reflect the colours and disappear into the display. Students have been working on this for days.
A massive privilege, an eye-opener, very inspirational, and something that you can definitely add to your Pinterest board.
It's really a once in a career opportunity, but definitely at this stage of your career, when you're training and you've not really sort of stepped out into industry yet, to have an opportunity to exhibit at Chelsea Flower Show, massive.
We've had very long days, very early mornings, and yeah, just ready for bed now.
Not far from the college exhibit, tutor Jade Loftus is also in the running to be the RHS Florist of the Year. This is her design.
I've chosen to depict sort of the night sky and northern lights, so that's where my colour inspirations come from. And I've chosen flowers that represent sort of star-like qualities, so they've either got star-like shapes or things like the digitalis.
Foxgloves.
Foxgloves, yeah. It's got that kind of galaxy look in the throats there.
Jade finds out if she's won tomorrow morning. Olivia Richwald, BBC Look North, Chelsea Flower Show.
Oh, it looks gorgeous there, doesn't it, and well gelled. Paul is with us because, remember last week we heard Yorkshire Water were talking about the risk of another hosepipe ban because of the reservoir levels, but it's also the region's rivers that are really suffering. Tell us about that, Paul.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, some of them are running at very low levels. In fact, one of our viewers has sent a picture in today comparing what the River Ure in Aysgarth was like back in December and today. I mean, that is really quite striking, down to a trickle. Now, if we have a look at the worst suffering rivers across the region, I mean, all the rivers are low, as you might imagine, but the Aire, the Wharfe and the Don are now at record low levels, and in my career I've never known a river at a record low level. So there are potential implications of these river levels being so low. I spoke to the Environment Agency earlier this afternoon and this is what they had to say.
So it can mean that there'll be less water available both for the environment and for water users. So we might see restrictions being put on farmers, for example, who need to take water for irrigation. And we might see that there'll be restrictions for water use more generally.
So we spoke to a gardener, a farmer should I say, in the Vale of York 3 weeks ago, and he was already struggling with how dry the land was. So that's potentially really bad news to farmers who use the rivers to irrigate the land. I then went on to ask the Environment Agency what were the potential impacts on the wildlife.
It can have a significant impact on wildlife. At the moment, we haven't seen those really severe impacts, but we're monitoring the river levels to see if there are any actions we need to take. So in areas where we've carried out fish rescues before, we'll be looking to prepare to carry those out if we need to. We've also removed about 500 native crayfish, white-clawed crayfish, from the location they were at to a site that means they're likely to have a better chance of survival if we continue to see this dry weather.
Paul, we had a really wet winter and then this isn't the first time we've had a dry spring, so why are we having these issues with the rivers?
Well, that's, and the reservoirs of course, because we're now at a worse point than we were in 2022. It's a really good question because we all remember spring 2020, it was lockdown, the weather was amazing, that was a record-breaking spring, and 2011 was a record-breaking spring, so we've had 3 of these in the last 14 years. It turns out February is causing the problem because in 2011 it was a record wet February, but this month we had less than 50% of the average rainfall. So that's why we're in this predicament, and I think we're going to be visiting this story, even though we're going to get some rain at the weekend and into next week. I think we're going to continue to be visiting this story right the way through summer.
Crack on with that forecast then.
Yes, indeed. Rain to come this weekend. Just a quick reminder of the contact details if there's something you want to talk to us about. We discuss these sort of subjects every Monday evening. And as I say, I think we're going to be revisiting this story quite often in the coming weeks. Let me just show you a couple of pictures which again illustrate how dry things are. Now that's Linton Falls up in Grassington. That's very low indeed. And we've got one of our reservoirs, that is Winscar Reservoir. That's the top end, but again, you can see how depleted that reservoir looks, and stocks are now less than 70%. Address is on your screen right now if you've got any pictures you'd like to send to us. Now, the weather is looking pretty good tomorrow. There is a chance of a shower in the next few days, but for most of us, it's dry all week once again. But it looks like this weather system, not that one, but the one coming in behind it, will at long last bring at least some rain on Saturday and Sunday, and Bank Holiday Monday will be a mixture of sunshine and scattered showers. The cloud cleared really nicely this afternoon, so we're into this evening. It's beautifully sunny and dry, apart from the odd shower, but most of us are dry. If we skip to the end of the night, you see a lot of low cloud developing with lows of around 5 degrees Celsius. High water time, Scarborough 10:07, Bridlington 10:32. Tomorrow then, a beautiful day, low cloud will clear, lots of sunshine coming through, just the odd shower, highs of 21 degrees, more live weather at 10:30.
Thank you very much. Isn't it typical? The rain comes on half term.
Yes.
But it's good that we've got a little bit of rain on the way, isn't it? That's it from us. Bye-bye for now.